wait a minute. You can put a little tape up under your bangs.
Hold my eyebrows up.
I think they do that with movie stars. They put a little tape in and put it in under the hair. And
pull all this back?
No.
Yeah, if I could put my whole face back like this.
No, it has to go up like this.
Oh, yeah. I need a face tuck, see. Pull it back like this.
We could get a whole thing and go.
Yeah.
And then I got one for me.
We'll behave.
Maybe we'll behave. Maybe.
We'll behave.
It's November 19th, 2010, and we have Arlene Friedman Force and Sally Force DeFuscio, and I am Kate DeFuscio. Grandma, was Judi born at home?
No. No, she was the first one in that I had in the hospital.
Which hospital was that?
Our Lady Victory in Lackawanna.
Who was there with you?
My husband, Richard Forrest, and the doctor finally got there.
Which doctor?
Dr. Krug.
He was late, or Judi was early?
They found him. I guess he came in to see me when they first called him after I went to the hospital. And then he left, and he left a number to call, and it was the bar in Lackawanna. Oh, yes. And he came kind of when he was good and ready to come. Oh, they held her back. It was terrible. Oh, it was terrible.
That's awful.
He was an assistant of Dr. Monahan's, or I mean, he was in with him. He was a young doctor, and he was associated with my regular Dr. Monahan, who delivered my other two, Sally and Dick. But yes, it was not a pleasant experience. My first time in the hospital.
So it was a long labor because they held her back?
Huh?
It was a long labor because they held her back?
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good.
The good old days.
Mm.
And then after I had her, I was in a private room, and my sister, Auntie was a nurse yet at the hospital. She was still working at the hospital. And she came up to see me a couple of days. Well, she'd drop in often. And it was quite a few days when she came up and said something about the baby. And I said, I don't know, they've never brought her to me.
Oh.
Oh, it was a rough time with Judi and stuff. I mean, and there I was, you know, they didn't even bring the baby to me.
I bet you were homesick, too.
Oh, well, yeah. I had two kids at home. I didn't want to be in there in the first place.
Who looked after Dick and Sally while you were in the hospital?
Who took care of Dick and me?
Grandma. Grandma Friedman took care of him.
How long did you have to stay in the hospital?
10 days. Oh!
That's what it was in the old days.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And my first experience after I had two at home.
And they didn't let you out of bed much, did they?
No. No, you were in bed maybe the day before you were going to leave the hospital. They let you get out of bed. And you were so weak by that time.
It was about the worst thing you can do. Hold back the baby, keep him in bed. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was not an easy one having Judi. I mean, not her fault and not my fault. It was the doctor.
I imagine it made having babies at home seem much better.
Well, it was. I mean, because the doctor was right there all the time, and there was a chloroform or whatever they give you when you're having at home. Well, of course, you don't know what they're giving you. It's the same way they did the same thing in the hospital, used the same stuff. Because, well, when I had the other ones, my cousin was there assisting. She was just a cousin, and Auntie was helping the doctor because she was a nurse. And when I guess when they told me when I had a pain, why I was supposed, and I guess I had my arm around my cousin's neck or something or other anyway. and I'd grab a hold of her, and I'd pull her down over the mask, and she was breathing that she had a hard time staying awake.
Poor Dee.
Yeah.
What was Judy's disposition like as a baby?
She was pretty calm, nothing, just ordinary like all the rest of them.
Was she a good sleeper?
Well, as I was telling your mother before, that none of my babies ever slept through the night for me. I always had to get up at least and give them a bottle or stuff.
You said till they were a year old, you said.
Oh, yeah. I mean, or even after that, I mean, if you'd wake up in the middle of the night crying, I'd go in
Didn't
and...
Megan get up at night till she was about 6? Didn't you tell me that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
What did you do to help them go back to sleep?
Oh, well, I'd rub their back or pat them on the back, and then I would just keep easing it up and making it lighter and lighter and lighter and sneak out of the room. And there was always a floorboard. That's great.
And you told us you would hum.
Oh, yeah, I would hum to them, too. Of course.
Did you nurse Judy or did you bottle feed Judy?
No, the only one I nursed your mother for a while, and then I nursed Dick up until... He was born December, and I nursed him up until April. And then I was going to be in a wedding party, so I stopped. Well, it was almost 6 months.
Yeah.
Was that pretty common at the time?
Yeah.
To nurse them at the beginning and then
Well,
switch over around
well,
6
a
months?
lot of mothers nursed him longer than that. But I was going to be in this wedding party, and...
You didn't nurse me that long, though, did
No,
you?
because you weren't gaining any weight and what have you. So they thought it was best that I give her a bottle. But I did for a couple of months, and you did a lot of crying, so I figured you weren't getting enough to eat.
Were Sally and Dick a help with Judy, or were they too little to help you, or?
They didn't pay that much attention, it wasn't anything no big deal to them.
Could you see any of Sally's adult personality traits when she was a little girl? Could you tell early on what type of person she was going to grow up to be?
No, I had no idea. I guess I wasn't really thinking about then. That was too far away, so I didn't.
Well,
I was worried about what she was going to be.
So would you say the same thing for Dick and Judy? You didn't see any of their adult traits early on?
No.
What would you say that Sally's best character trait was when she was a girl?
Well, she was very pleasant. Had no problems with her. I mean, she wasn't no, I'm not going to do that. We never had much trouble with the kids as far as discipline. I mean, if they were told they couldn't do it, well, they didn't give us any arguments.
What was her worst character trait as a child? Anything, or she was just a sweet girl?
Yeah, she was always sweet. And of course, she always liked to read.
See, now, is that a good or a bad characteristic? Because I like to read when I was supposed to be doing other things like getting dressed for school, things like that.
And helping with the dishes.
What was Dick's best character trait as a boy?
He was pretty much, I don't know why, but I never felt that we had any problems ever with our kids. Whatever.
No, nobody was a naughty kid.
No.
No one was naughty.
Nobody was. And Dick, from the time he was 12, he had a paper route. He had a morning and evening one. And he'd get up bright and early in the morning to get papers to the people by 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Winter, summer, anytime. Yeah, he was really he was an ambitious kid, really.
Always.
I'd say
It's his personality. Hardworking.
Yeah.
Ambitious.
Yeah, he was. He always was.
You were saying earlier that he was a little bit stubborn when he was a toddler, though.
Yeah, he was. He had a stubborn streak.
was the kind of classic kid thing that you say, well, if you take this tricycle with you, you won't want to ride it back. Yes, I will. How many kids in the world have done that?
Yeah.
Thousands.
And he never rode it back. I mean, he's got, yeah, typical kids.
And Judi, what was her best character trait as a little girl?
She was pretty much easygoing, like Sally. I mean,
She was a sweet thing.
yeah. She's always been.
Would you say that Sally was more like you or more like Grandpa?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. She probably had a little of both, you know.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, it does, but I mean, I don't ever remember any special thing that was one or the other. I mean, she just was an ordinary person, maybe picking up things and not showing them or something. I don't know.
And what about Dick? Was he more like you or more like Grandpa?
Well, I think Dick was more like me. I think you were more laid back, like your dad. I mean, not.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
You're a person who never wants to sit around.
Yeah. Well, and Dick.
And then Dick's just like
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, he's more on the go.
All the time.
Yeah, and
all the time.
Dad was more subdued, and I think Sally took after him that way.
I think so too.
And Judi, did she take after Grandpa?
No, I'm trying to think. I am trying to think what she. I think she was more.
In the middle.
Yeah, more like Dad, though. I think a little bit more than me. I mean, she was always ambitious to do something, but I mean, not. I was up in. As
My mother
your
goes
mother said, I couldn't
crazy.
sit still.
She goes crazy if she doesn't have something to do.
Yeah.
Like knit or sew or something. You know who told me the other day that she was like you is Megan. Megan said she can't sit still. She's got to have something to do all the time. And I didn't know that about her.
Yeah.
But she's like you
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, I gotta be on the go.
At least her hands have to be on the go, right?
Yeah, something. Part of me's got to be on the go.
Right.
What was Sally like as a big sister?
Oh, don't ask that.
What was Sally like? What?
As a big sister.
Oh, we used to pick on Judi.
Oh yes, she and Dick. Poor Judi. Judi had a hard time getting here because they were holding her back, and then these two
And then she had us for a brother and sister.
teased her all the time.
That's the third child's fate.
Yes, third
Can-
child.
Can
It's
you
a
think
rough
of an
time for 'em.
example of how you would tease her?
Oh, I can't remember specifically. I remember chasing her upstairs once, but I just remember that we used to do that. It was I know now how nasty it was, but I don't remember specific examples.
Yeah, I don't know. But they were always, picking on her.
She
You
was,
shouldn't do that.
she's so little. That's why we were.
Well, she was.
we were bigger than she was. That's
She was
why we
small.
picked
She
on
took
her.
after Dad's family, because a lot of them were shorter people. Well, like Aunt May, she was really short.
Oh, she was
I
teeny.
mean, Judy's pretty much average now, but I mean, she was.
The petite little girl.
Yes, she was. And she's the one that had the velvet coat.
That's right. Tell about the velvet coat.
There was a priest, Father Toomey, who was pastor at Blaisdell Church. I don't know which one it was, what the name of it was, but anyway. He was good friends with this cousin of mine, Manita. He'd come up to her husband's garage and have his car taken care of, and they got to know each other, and one time he asked her, he said, there's some velvet drapes up at church that are down. They don't want to use them anymore. And I got them, he says. And he knew Manita sewed. So he asked her if she wanted them. And she said, no, she didn't need them, but did I? And then she said, I know somebody might. So they gave me the velvet drapes from the church, and I made Judi a coat and leggings, fitted leggings, and a fitted coat and a bonnet. And she wore that till she outgrew it. Somewhere I've got a picture of it, and I didn't find it the other day.
I can see it in my mind, and I don't remember if it's a picture or whether I remember.
Because I took a picture of her with it on.
Quite an outfit.
And I can't,
You know
I've
what?
never seen it, having it. But now when Dorothy and I just went through the pictures, didn't find that.
Maybe you gave it to her.
Oh, I might have done that.
Because you gave me some of my young pictures,
Oh, I know.
so I'll bet you gave that to Judi.
I bet you I gave it to her. That's why I can't find it.
Yeah.
What color were the drapes?
Wine, we called it wine. Cranberry.
Kind of a deep red.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a sweet little thing.
What was Dick like as a little brother and as a big brother? Did you pick on Dick, or was it the two of you against the...
I don't think I picked on Dick long, because he was bigger than me very quickly. And he, you know, he had, in our neighborhood, he had kids he played with, and I had kids I played with. And so I don't remember our doing things together very often.
No.
Maybe
You had your own friends, girls,
right,
and
there were
boys.
kids right across the street, and
Yeah.
they would do things, and the girls would do
Yeah.
things. But
Even as you got older, then you still weren't.
I remember that once we were both in college, we suddenly, I think, realized the other one was a person, and we, no, you know, it wasn't the brother-sister thing.
Yeah, you didn't think that way.
And then finally, I begin to see the other person as
As a
a
person,
yeah.
Well, you were growing up then. Yeah.
Right.
Kids always ever got along. I mean, not my kids, but I mean, you never had any big fights, any of you together.
No. There
No.
was no animosity.
Because you hear so much sometimes of brothers and sisters just not getting along.
I do remember one thing very cooperative that Dick and I did. We all went to an ox roast at a farm that was Inky's relatives. And he had a landing strip because this, who was
Well,
that?
he was a crop duster.
It was a crop duster, so there was this huge smooth space on the farm. And there was I don't know if it was our car or someone else's car, but Dick and I drove because he was working the pedals and shifting, I guess, and I was helping with the steering because
I didn't hear about that one.
we're going on the landing strip. So that was something very cooperative we did.
I didn't hear about that one ever.
But somehow we were doing that together. He was doing most of it, but I remember helping.
We heard what Judi was like as a little sister. What was Judi like as a big sister?
Well, Judi had...
That's your questions.
No. Judi
Yeah,
was...
a sister.
Big sister. She was never my big sister.
Oh, no,
she
never
was
that.
wonderful with the girls and with Larry.
Oh, with the little kids.
Oh, she
After-
just showed a genius for little kids, right?
Always. She had them, teaching them dance steps and songs and...
She revealed her career very early.
Yeah, she
Just
did.
like Dick.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
Yeah,
both,
they both had the same...
in both of them you could see what they would become, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she did. I mean, boy, it was wonderful for us when we had the three younger ones there.
Yeah, she was so... And not just our kids, the neighborhood kids.
Oh, yeah,
and
she
all.
babysat,
She
yeah.
She was really wonderful with kids. I mean, obviously still is, but...
Grandma, what was your philosophy of child rearing with the older three kids? For example, did you pick them up as babies right away when they cried, or did you let them cry a little bit?
Sally would let cry because her father thought she should stay in her bed and I shouldn't go pick her up and stuff. And of course we were very young. And I didn't like to, that's when I got in the habit of going out there and petting, and I wouldn't take her out of her crib. I'd stand there and pet and rub her back and hum, and because he figured they should stay in their own bed, and they never slept with it unless they were sick or something. I mean, that I had to watch them all the time because I wouldn't have gotten any rest at all, and I had other ones to take care of during the day too. So it was it all worked out all right.
You were, you believed in certain rules for taking care of kids, and
no, I guess
we had to clean our plates. We're supposed to go to bed on time. You had a whole strict.
Yeah, but I mean it was.
I mean, you weren't overly strict at all.
Yeah, no.
But there was a kind of way things were supposed to be done, wouldn't you say? Pretty much. I remember having to eat mashed potatoes I didn't want to eat.
Well, and we never gave you big portions like Aunt Rita used to do. She put that glob of mashed potatoes on the kids' plate, no gravy or anything, that glob of mashed potatoes. They could not get off the table or away from the table. And I think at fairly early age, though, you guys helped yourself to your food, put it on their own plate. But we wanted them to make sure that they ate their vegetables and stuff. They had to eat vegetables and stuff.
To this day, Bob says, do you ever notice you eat your vegetables first?
To get them out of the way.
I love them now, but it has to be from when I was a kid, and I think that's funny. I never noticed I did it till he said that.
Did you feed your babies on a schedule, or did you feed them when they were hungry?
Well, it was a schedule. I mean, it was kind of like when I had to feed them separate, they were eating more or less baby food, you know. And a lot of times in the summertime, it was always fresh cooked vegetables and mashed with butter on them and stuff. And
because we had the garden and everything.
Yeah. Oh, I can remember one time when we were out at Grandma's, Friedman's, and I had a dinner plate, and I had cooked when Dick was little, because Sally pretty much was eating at the table with us by that time. But I cooked the carrots and beans and potatoes and whatnot right out of the garden. So they were eating organic food too at an early age, and so did I. I mean, because my dad never used any fertilizer or anything on her.
There were no sprays.
Yeah, no, nothing like that. No, we had to help when he had the thing of potatoes. He had one great big garden of potatoes, and they always had got potato bugs on them when they were growing. And he'd give us a pail or something and a stick, and we had to knock the bugs. I had to do that. These kids didn't do that. But anyway, Dick, this whole dinner plate, and he ate the whole thing. I mean, it was a great amount of, I said, I can't believe Dick, you ate all of it. But he was just a baby, and he cleaned up that. He ate baby food without making faces and stuff.
How old were your children when you toilet trained them?
When I did what?
Toilet trained.
Oh, probably 2. It started at 2, and I don't even remember that. I mean, it just kind of...
I think we probably were a little younger than the older group, than Patrice and those kids.
It's just, I don't know. And I just never had any problems.
It was so awful doing diapers in those days.
Yeah, well...
So people tended to train their kids younger.
Oh, and when I had... When I had Patrice, somebody gave me for a gift, was diaper service for 6 weeks. Oh, was that wonderful. You know, the first 6 weeks you got a new baby, and then the other kids, and you got all that stuff. They gave me diaper service. So I thought, oh, what a wonderful gift.
Wonderful gift.
Yeah.
Did you raise your older 3 children the same way that your parents raised you?
Well, I guess maybe because we never had big discipline problems. I mean, they never did anything that we had to send them in a corner or send them to the room or...
Like you were so naughty.
Oh,
you
well,
had...
I was... Yeah, my mother locked me in a closet. Oh, she did. That didn't have a handle on the inside of the door. And it was under the stairs, and it was a closet. They kept all the old winter coats and the black coats and all the... And on the door, on the inside, where I would kick on the door, I wanted to get let out. And my sister, when they remodeled the house, she said, I forgot I wanted to keep that door. Remind you here. Temper you had.
So you were really, in a way, less strict than your mother because you never did anything like that to us.
And as I say, I never, they never were sent. They were scolded and told that wasn't the thing to do, and you can't do it anymore. And
we'd get a swat on the rear end, but you would never hold us and seriously spank us. You know, you'd get like a swat, and so you weren't very strict that way.
No. Well, I just didn't think that the things you were doing were that bad. That they were good kids.
None of us.
We were lucky we had good kids.
None of us became criminals either.
Yeah.
You said Grandpa insisted that Sally sleep in her bed. Were there any other things that Grandpa insisted on, or any child-raising traditions that he brought from his family?
I don't think he was disciplined that, with, you can't do this. I mean, he was outdoors all the time and the stuff he did,
Yeah, he had a good childhood, just like you.
Yeah.
Do you think your children had more opportunities or more things or more experiences than you did when you were a child, or less because it was the Depression, or about the same?
Well, the Depression was bad because I was just a child. I was about 10 years old because it was 29, the Depression, and I was born in 19, so it was rough during the Depression. What was the thing about the kids?
Do you feel your kids had the same types of experiences, or?
I don't think so.
Well, we didn't have hard times, but you had your wonderful extended family, with your grandparents and your cousins, and we had that too.
Yeah.
So we were both lucky that way. With the things you do are like visit relatives, and we both had that.
Right, yeah.
Did your kids have more toys or more clothes than you did as a child, or about the same?
I don't ever remember of a toy that I had. I didn't have a doll. I don't remember a doll at all.
Paper dolls.
But I didn't.
You didn't like them.
I wasn't. Aunt Dorothy was the one.
Aunt Dorothy loved the paper dolls.
But when she'd have, we had these little China dolls that they were almost like a Cupid doll, but they were made out of China. And Aunt Dorothy had those, and she'd be playing with those, and then I would be the dressmaker, and she'd come to the dressmakers, and then I would make a dress for the doll. I was always sewing.
See,
always sewing.
Her career showed up in her childhood too. See, you can see that.
Yeah.
And when you were embroidering when you were little and all that stuff.
I've got that somewhere, and I
We
don't know
saw it.
where I got it.
We saw it one time when we were here.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
Did any of the older three children have scares, like an accident or an illness, when they were little?
Well, Sally and Dick had a scare on polio when that was around during World War II. But other than that, no.
No broken bones?
No, we didn't have any until...
Mary Beth.
Well, yeah, she broke hers, and then before... Well, now, how was it? Because
I was in Pennsylvania.
Both Mary Beth and your dad were in casts. And she fell out of the willow tree. And Dad kept, one thing with their father, his grandmother didn't believe in doctors. She was Christian Scientist faith, and she didn't believe in doctors. And your dad kind of got that from her, and he didn't believe too much in doctors either, because Sally and Dick, when they were giving shots to children for all the different shots that kids had, babies had, Sally and Dick didn't get them right away. He had
Till the school required it.
Yeah, when they went to kindergarten, then they had to have them. But he didn't believe in any of that kind of stuff. And
well, how about Larry with the whooping cough? He didn't have the shot, and then when he had whooping cough, he had those.
Oh my God!
Wasn't that awful?
Oh, that was terrible. He just would cough, so I'd run outdoors with him to try and get some air.
Holding him upside down, and it was. Oh, I remember that. That was terrible.
Yeah, that was awful.
He had whooping cough so bad.
Yeah. Well, you and Dick had whooping cough.
Well, we had
too.
it, but
and Judi.
And I remember all the coughing, but nobody got like Larry.
No, that was, well, he was much younger when he had it
was a toddler.
than you guys were.
He was a toddler.
I was 6 months old when I had it, and pneumonia with it. Mother said that for 6 weeks she never took her clothes off her back. That she was, had to watch me every minute.
That's probably what made you so tough.
I don't know what made
She
me tough.
She defeated whooping cough and pneumonia as an infant.
Yeah, 6. Well, I could think I was about 6 months old at the time. I was just a baby yet.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have breakages and things, but we had all those sicknesses.
Oh yeah.
When I was in first grade and Dick was in kindergarten.
They each brought something else home.
So Judi had to have been 1 or something like that.
And she got all of them.
I missed a good part of first grade, and so Dick must have missed a good part of kindergarten.
They each brought something different home, and then they got the other thing from the... It was true. For a long time, we had a bed up in our living room or something.
That's right.
Just for when these... Because one after the other. It was...
I remember Dick and I had chicken pox at the same time, but we had 2 kinds of measles, chicken pox, whooping cough, mumps. Well, what else? We had all those things within a year or a year and a half. And I remember I missed a lot of first grade. So Dick must have missed a lot of kindergarten.
Could be.
And you were probably going out of your mind.
Oh, tell me. See, now, I mean, I got upset about it, but I mean, I didn't get flustered, or I didn't go off the handle, or, I mean, it was my duty to watch my kids and take care of my kids, and I did. I mean,
You sure did.
Bring them all those things in bed, because at that time they were, when you got those, you had to stay in bed. And later on in years, as long as they were kept warm and stuff with warm clothing and the house was warm enough for them, they didn't have to stay in bed. They could be out unless they were real. Some kids get it worse than others do. But they were covered with chicken pox and covered with measles.
I remember that. I have a sense memory of how awful it was lying on the chicken pox on your back. Those were awful. Kids are lucky they get those shots now.
Yeah.
But you didn't see the doctor very often?
No.
How about the dentist?
I think I was 7 when I went to the dentist the first time, and I saw him a lot the rest of my life.
And that was one thing, their father, because his mother was a dental hygienist before she was married. And in those days, that was really way back. And but his mother was always at him about keeping his teeth clean and stuff. And so that's one thing the kids did learn.
Oh, yeah.
That was an important thing, that they had to have their cleaning their teeth and that stuff. I don't think they had we ever went, like, you'd go if you had a toothache or something, something bad, but you never had regular checkups like we do now every 6 months or every year.
But I started having fillings at 7.
Yeah.
And you didn't get Novocaine?
No, Dad didn't believe in that. The first time I had Novocaine was when I had a tooth pulled when I was a freshman in college. So I had a mouthful of fillings with no Novocaine. But he didn't get it either. I mean, it's not like he was being cruel to the children. He just didn't believe in it. And you were afraid of it. You always said, "I'm so afraid the needle will break off in my mouth."
Oh, yeah. Or that they were hitting the bone instead of where they were supposed to hit.
What types of games did Sally and Dick and Judi play when they were little? And did you play with them?
We never played like board game. Well, cards, maybe Old Maid or something. I might have played with them, but when they got older, the boys from next door would come over and they'd sit and play cards.
When we were
at the table.
teenagers, yeah.
I don't know what you can't remember what you were playing.
I think it was canasta. I think it. We never played like pinochle or poker.
No, none of those.
Or bridge or anything. I think it was canasta.
I can't
By
remember.
that time, we weren't playing Old Maid or anything.
No,
But we played
and
canasta.
Or
I
were you
think.
playing Monopoly at that time? A board game?
We used to play it early, but Dick was so serious about it. that
Well, money.
These were life lessons for him. I started disliking board games very, very young. I didn't really care for them.
Well, you played them because the boys next door came over.
I played cards with them. I don't know that we played board games.
I don't remember. But I can see them all sitting around the round dining room table.
The
boys
The
next
Fornesses made homemade root beer, and I remember they brought that over one time.
Yeah.
We'd have popcorn, and yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. And we used to play hide and seek sometimes in the summer in the dusk. And Gene Fornes went running through our yard and hit the clothesline, knocked him down. He was the youngest brother next door, but he was like full grown. He wasn't like a little kid, and he was okay. But I remember that we're running around hiding in the bushes and this and that, and Gene ran into the clothesline. You don't remember that? No. We had a good time in our neighborhood.
A lot of the things I didn't hear about too.
We had kids in every neighborhood we lived in. Like there'd be a gang of kids doing things.
down on Pleasant Avenue.
We did.
Because they were younger when they were down there.
One of the things we did so much was a lot of make-believe play. We were cowboys, or we were pilots in World War II, or I don't know, we were on a desert island. We had lots and lots and lots of make-believe play.
Well, that's good.
And it wasn't just like playing house. It was games the boys could enjoy being into, like cowboys and stuff like that. But up until maybe when we were on Hunt Avenue and there would be a little bit of football or baseball, it mostly was not organized games, but make-believe games. And in the winter, we had such a good time with the snow, because there was so much snow you could really do stuff with it. You could make mountains
I guess it was
caves and forts. And
that it was the corner of Hunt and Main Street was an empty lot. And the people lived right next door to it. They had about 8 or 9 kids. And she had one, they were a year apart almost. And she had one for all the kids. And we'd go up in that corner and play kick the can and all kinds of games up there. And then run all over the neighborhood and hide. You know. Yeah.
well, it was in all cases, it was probably a little easier than it would be now, because there was not a lot of traffic.
Oh, yeah.
Well, especially during World War II, there was very little traffic. So you didn't have to think about your kid running out in the traffic or crossing the street or anything. Because if a car was coming, there was lots of time, because there weren't many cars.
Well, they weren't the kind of cars that went very fast, too.
And they didn't have any gas during World War II.
Yeah. No, we had our car up on blocks. On
One of them, yeah.
East Main Street.
Yeah, you couldn't, I remember that.
We took
Dad-
the bus down to Grafton.
Dad didn't have tires for that car,
Yeah.
so he got one that did have tires.
Oh,
And
a wreck. It was really
It was
a wreck.
I think it was a hand-painted brown car. But our Oldsmobile didn't have tires, but this
That's
one
right.
did.
Yeah.
So we ran that ugly thing.
We drove that to Lime Lake.
Oh, I know, it's in the pictures. It was a homely car. It was bigger. It was pretty big, wasn't it?
No.
I was pretty small.
Yeah, no, it was a greenish color, some kind of
I
green.
remember it being brown, but doesn't matter.
No, we never had a pink car.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Did Sally and Dick and Judy have chores?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Dishes starting at 7.
Well, you dried dishes, you never washed
Dick
them.
and I, we washed them.
I don't remember.
Dick and I were doing dishes when I was 8, Dick 7, when the war ended. And you said we could leave the dishes.
Oh yeah, we all went.
It was a miracle. The war ended and Dick and I could leave the dishes and go out in the car and
have the war
shout
ended.
and honk the horn and wave flags.
Yeah.
But no, Dick and I were doing the dishes then. Because the other thing I remember is when detergents came out, what a miracle they were. If you wash dishes with soap, that is a terrible job, right? Remember how the dishwater used to get?
Yeah.
When you use soap? And then this detergent, the water almost looked as clean at the end as it did at the beginning. It was a miracle. That was a great invention.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine washing dishes with soap now. And clothes, same thing with clothes. Using soap
Oh yeah, well,
instead of
it
detergent.
was granulated though. I mean,
But still,
the
it
soap.
didn't.
no,
It
well,
didn't
it
cut
didn't make the
grease.
suds like you.
Didn't cut grease like detergent.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did Dick have any particular chores because he was a boy?
No, because he helped with dishes now and then, but I mean, not really. Of course, when he was 12, he had this paper